Do you know how mom used to say that looks don't matter, it's what's on the inside that counts, and blah 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 blah? Well, thank God that's the case. Welcome to Card Quest. Card Quest is a dungeon crawler card game. More importantly, it is ugly! So I beg of you, I'm literally on my knees right now. Please don't get discouraged and leave. This stupid little game, and I say that with a ton of affection, sits comfortably in my top 3 games of all time. Okay, got your attention? Great. Let's get back to it. Card Quest is a dungeon crawler card game developed and published by Winter Spring Games, where you'll take control of different characters and explore several dungeons, slowly acquiring new pieces of gear so you can customize your characters into ingenious machines of death. Or, more accurately, ingenious machines of making your brain fume out of your ears with its high difficulty. Each piece of equipment is represented by a collection of cards that will then make up your deck. None of this gear is strictly stronger, and the game will always overpower you when it comes to sheer strength. What it accomplishes, however, is allow different combinations which can work better together to overcome specific challenges. In combat, there's both attack and defense phases, and different cards can only be played in their corresponding phase. While attacking, you play cards that either consume or generate resources, both energy, which is universal, as well as more esoteric ones, depending on your build. While defending, the process is similar, but you're reacting to enemy attacks. These reactions range from simple blocks and dodges, but you can also redirect attacks between foes, put them at a distance, and much more. Lastly, there's also a chain system. Most cards will initiate a chain, and most cards will also have extra effects if played during a chain. This can be beneficial or detrimental and represent the momentum of your character. Stabbing your sword once is easy, but doing it repeatedly takes more and more effort, for example. Now, as previously alluded, Card Quest isn't easy. Or rather, it is mentally demanding and extremely unforgiving. It is very easy to snowball a bad play into a loss, even if it only manifests 3 turns or even 3 combats later, as you use more resources than you needed and don't have them ready for critical moments. The converse isn't true. It's not easy to snowball into a victory. Enemies will outscale you in sheer power, and you need to really pay attention to each and every single one of your turns in order to maximize your resources. Or just play mage and generate infinite energy with 0 effort and win easily. Either works fine. As for content, there's tons here. 3 dungeons with 13 zones each, with a unique unlock per character per zone, secret gear that varies per character for you to discover, 4 playable characters with 1 billion gear combinations and unlockable subclasses. This puts the total unlocks at a whopping 185 items, which can take a bunch of time to unlock by itself, and that's not even counting any time you might spend horsing around with stupid builds. Also, keep in mind these aren't your run-of-the-mill classes either, no. In Card Quest, classes play extremely different. Subclasses play extremely different. Different loadouts of the same subclass play extremely different. And this is more than most action games, and definitely the best implementation of different playstyles in any card game I know of. There's a clear sense of build-up and release as you generate heat by casting powerful meteor showers as a pyromancer, only to cool it all off in the form of mist to confuse your enemies. Or maybe you prefer to exercise a delicate balance between arcane powers and physical energy as you wiggle both back and forth to create infinite turns. One bad flick of the wrist though and everything comes crashing down. Or the almost tactile feeling of accumulating kinetic energy on your flail as a soldier to then convert it into a huge hit that will just bash the brains of whatever's standing in your path. What about the methodical mindset of the hunter, where every arrow is a precious resource and there's a physical back and forth between you and your adversaries as you slowly destroy them from afar? See what I mean? I barely scratched the surface of the diversity available, and I'm literally itching to tell you more about it, but that would spoil the surprise. Enemies are also top of the class in their diversity. You have everything here, from nimble annoyances that dodge everything you throw at them, to pure walls of tankiness that absorb your hits, to spiky things that damage you on contact, to venomous plants that slowly poison and restrict you in different ways, and. Seriously, everything just shows how much love and care went into this game. It's everywhere, from all I mentioned so far to the tiniest of details. Tutorial missions didn't need to have different names depending on the class. Lessons for mage, challenges for warrior, hunt for archer, brawls for rogue, and yet they do. There didn't need to be an overarching narrative that seamlessly connects all of the zones you'll go through and that hardly anyone will read. And yet, there is. Zones didn't need to have such mindful enemy placements as to make you feel you're literally climbing a dragon rule mountain, from early encounters against whatever goblin is at the bottom to young adult dragons halfway through as they explore the environment, topped off with frail dragon eggs guarded by their mothers at the summit. And yet, that's exactly what happens. You won't notice this. I didn't notice this for literal years. Years, did you hear me say? Yup. This unassuming gem weaved its way into my phone in 2018 and it's the first thing I install every time I get a chance. I've been playing the game on and off for these past 4+ years, have 100%ed it multiple times and it just doesn't get old. So, how long does it take to beat? I have no idea. What I know is that even for a game with such little traditional replay value and randomness, it's very easy for me to get lost in it over and over and over again. Even for this video, I got it on Steam to get some B-roll footage and oh my god, how did I play 35 hours of this already? It's not even been a week! Gushing and gawking aside, what's the catch? There must be issues, right? Well, yes. Remember secret unlocks and subclasses? Yeah, I don't really like them. Subclasses are weird in that you unlock them by playing as them. If you want a Storm Mage, the requirements are for you to play with a specific combination of Storm equipment and beat a particular map. This poses the question of why do I need the Storm Mage subclass if I just proved I can use that loadout just fine without it? I guess it helps you do slightly crazier builds in that particular theme, but then again, the subclass isn't transformative enough to really matter, so it's just lackluster. Secret unlocks, on the other hand, feel needlessly obscure, bordering on blind luck. Maybe I'm just obtuse, but after completing the game however many times, I still can't even fathom how to unlock most of this stuff. It just feels like random events that occur if you happen to be playing the correct character in the correct map, but only sometimes? I don't know. There's plenty to keep you entertained even without this, but it still doesn't sit well with me. Finally, the game is ugly as sin. Not sure I mentioned this yet. Does it matter? Well, for me, not at all, but I know visuals are extremely important for some people, which is valid, mind you, and there's none of that here. And that's enough for me. If you want to give a go at genuinely the best single-player card game in the market that goes for around $5, there's a link to it in the description. See ya!